right, ladies, you're good to go. See, because normally what we do is we set up that
We are gonna
this
call this
display laptop,
meeting, policy
right?
meeting to order.
That display
today,
laptop reads off of my laptop.
7/17,
So once we open that up and we open up the audience display,
4:51. Thanks for everyone tuning
we
in
open, right, that
virtually.
laptop.
We're gonna start off first. Please check me if I'm wrong. It's my first time doing this.
So once I
doing this by myself.
and we hit
We're
the
gonna
audience
call
display, they
roll
read
call.
one another, and it projects.
Oh, that's the best.
Here, President and President and we perform.
And the vendor of the people who just
Okay,
installed the stuff.
awesome. Can I get a motion to approve
So,
the agenda?
I came up with Plan B,
Okay.
because if we can't
Yeah.
use those, we still have this main.
Awesome, and can
Okay.
I get a
So I figured we
motion
could hook
to
that up to
approve
the
our
TV,
consent agenda?
and they have.
Right, second, and so yeah, approved.
Okay.
So,
So if
We
we
are gonna
can't
move
get this to
on
work,
to
we'll hook it up to the.
Four
Right,
point
just for the
zero,
audience to
policy and
Okay.
planning.
Okay.
Today
I'll
I
let IT
wanna
know
start
that too.
off just by giving a little bit of
Thank
context, catching ourselves up and public up with what we did last time. So first, big shout out to Council of Great City Schools, in particular AJ and Cindy for leading us through the policy diet training. Last time we met September 3rd. That session helped us clarify the difference between the work that belongs to the board and the word that properly rests with the superintendent's team. It also underscored the real harm that ineffective policy management can cause, especially for students furthest from educational justice, a term AJ introduced that grounds our responsibility as a board. We now have a clear process in place reviewing whether policies are legally required, delegable, and impactful for student outcomes, with legal counsel, the superintendent's team, and the board all playing a role. We'll use a spreadsheet to track our collective evaluation, and Cindy has created a flow chart that we have in front of us today to make the process even more accessible. Obsolete policies will be archived as legacy items. Furthermore, on the committee side, I'll be serving as interim acting chair while Chairwoman Silverio is out, and President Stevens will step in to help ensure quorum and continuity. We also discussed the importance of making our policies more publicly accessible, looking at Boston's model as a policy benchmark. So our objective from now until December 2025 is to review the pre-existing policies that we have. I believe there's 116 of them, 16 of them. We're gonna be looking at the coded sections. Shout out to the PPS team for, like, y'all have already started this work, and honestly, even AJ and Cindy, I think the last time was like, wow, you guys are already ahead of the game. So we're gonna be looking at those coded sections of policy and using that sort of like start point to complete the diet exercise provided by the Council of Great City Schools. Then the goal is in the beginning, winter 2026, we'll identify which policies need review or monitoring and set a timeline. Delegation adjustments will also be considered at that stage. Ultimately, our goal is to make sure the board spends its time on the policies that matter most, those that represent the community's vision and values, and that monitor what Providence students know and are able to do, while empowering the superintendent, the district, and educational experts to lead in carrying it out. So just a little bit of ground setting for where we are today. Yeah, again, shout out to Cindy and AJ for getting us set up with this policy diet framework that we're gonna look at and use really for the rest of the fall. I think it's gonna take us some time. Today, what I was hoping we could do is, one, review the sections, and I wonder, Dr. Dillon, if you would feel ready to maybe just tell us a little bit about the sections that are existing and maybe how that came about, and then we can dive into the activity.
Sure. So the sections are really derived from, there's a national organization that kind of guides the work of policy. Many districts years ago adopted kind of a similar coding system for their policies. You don't have to necessarily use the same coding system, but many districts kind of separated into those same categories using that as a common. Within all of these categories, you'll find policies that some are required by the state, and so the state will say you're required to have a policy on. And that's the same across the whole state. It's not like a Providence thing. It's like, if you are a district in Rhode Island, you have to have a bullying policy, for example. And then there are other policies that the district, I'm sure at some point decided that they would like to have because of needs that the district determined. And then there are policies that are those that drive the work and function of the school board, the work and the function of the superintendent and their teams. So that's really kind of the genesis of how, when I actually arrived here, we started to work on kind of codifying and pulling these pieces together. I believe it was Scott Sutherland and James Scott that were the original authors of that document that I shared with you. And we were in the process of working because some of the policies, as you noted, are already in the archives and just need to be retired. And then also to look to see, are there policies that are missing that we should have? So that was the purpose of the work, and they worked with the policy committee of the school board who was present at that time. So that's my understanding of where we are and how we came to have these policies.
Thank you, Dr. Really appreciate that. Are there any questions? Awesome. So yeah, my sort of thinking, and I really do want the feedback if this seems like a logical way. I love this template. When I looked at it, I was immediately overwhelmed by it. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot of steps. This is from the Council of Great City Schools. It's definitely, it makes sense when you read it. To me, it makes total sense. I immediately was like, okay, I think we're gonna have to take this a little bit more bite-sized than I originally thought when we met on September 3rd. So what I was thinking is that we could, and this is a pretty small group, so we could just decide to work all together or in two different groups. My original idea was that we could get into two different groups, have group one focus on sections 100 and 200, and then have group two focus on sections 300 and 400. And instead of trying to go horizontally all the way to step 3, that we really just look at the policy, like in blue, the policy review, and potentially the diet step 1. Just try to get some consensus within those smaller groups with sections 100, 200, 300, 400. And if that seems to work, we can kind of use that model going forward.
May I make one suggestion as a pre-step? My one suggestion as a pre-step is this column right here legally required for the school to have. I wonder if we sit as a team and go through that, because on those things, we have a lot less flexibility. And Sarah can help us to understand which of these things, even if you would choose to not have, you would have to have, right? And so we could just put a yes on them, and then we know we can't archive it. We might be able to edit it or change it, but we can't archive it. And that might cut down on some of our time, because it will put one group of policies in a bucket that says, hey, we need to come back to these because we have to have them.
And I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to do it now.
Okay.
Because, I've developed with my colleague, a pretty comprehensive list of all the policy, all the times that Title 16, the controlling state law, mentions the word policy. And sometimes when it does, it really means the school board must adopt it, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I want to use this to inform my thinking, and I haven't studied this, and I want to be careful about it, and I want to give you, this is real, this you really, for example, bullying,
Yeah.
that's unambiguous.
Yeah.
Student discipline code, that's unambiguous, but then the BEP says the LEA is to adopt policies. Well, LEA means school district. So I don't read that as requiring that you do that as a board. So I want to apply some of that thought before I just say yes for sure.
Okay.
If you skip that, I can do it as
Yeah.
homework.
I had figured, I definitely, because that's where I was going back and forth, too, do we need to do it first? I have it as like a next step maybe, like after we leave this meeting, so I assume there will be some like small work that has to get done with that.
So I would take those first two columns and just like put a pause,
Okay.
and we can come back to it, but really focus on the kind of mantra that AJ gave, which was some of the work is really yours,
Yeah.
and some of it can be delegated, and we kind of want to parse through that now, either in two groups or one group, whatever you
Yeah.
all think is best.
I might suggest, just because of how small we are, that maybe just one group
Yeah.
that's what building a muscle for it.
Yeah.
And then we can get some traction.
Yeah.
in the upcoming
And we
meetings.
can calibrate, make sure we're all thinking the same way, and,
Yeah.
So if we go that way and you go this way, then maybe you're thinking this and we're thinking that, and that's not what you wanted.
Yeah.
And you two would have to be separated because you're both board members, so you'd have to, and that doesn't give you that
Yeah.
collaborative security.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I do think like coming back to that analogy that we were using before we started the meeting a little bit, just around like, this is not a time to like review or monitor policy, right? That's not what we're doing right now. That's needed, but that's not what we are right now. It's really just about sorting, to see like what is the board's work to do, what is the district's work to do. And again, like we were talking about earlier, so much, because of that process that the district already went through by coding different policies, it's really just sort of like a check to say, does this like,
But if we're making buckets.
we're making buckets right now.
Piles.
Yeah. We have lots of analogies for it. You might have to close a little closer. Yeah. My vision is really, really bad. Okay, cool. So why don't we start with the turnaround action plan as our first policy to run this through the system with. So we will skip the legal requirements for right now. The first question on that we need to consider is considering the turnaround action plan, which is labeled as policy 100 right now. Is the implementation of this policy work for the school board or work for the superintendent? And there's a sort of rating system that we can use. So we can rate on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 meaning the item is purely management item that will never involve governance of the school board, and 10 means this item is purely a governance item or a school board item that will never involve management. There's a note here that Cindy put, few items will be 0 or 10. For example, a policy about board/community engagement will probably be higher, maybe like between a 7 and a 10, depending on the context. While a policy about parent-teacher, like communications, would probably be more on the like 3 or 4 right, scale management.
So if it's more work on the school board, it's like closer to the 10.
10.
Yep.
Okay.
So how would we rate the turnaround action plan?
If I'm understanding the way that this is intended, I would say it's probably a 4, because there's a lot of pieces that the school board isn't implementing, but then there are a lot of family and engagement community pieces too, so I would say a 4. I don't know how others feel.
Yeah, what are the thoughts? I'm gonna take some notes, on the actual document.
You mean on here. I feel like I want to write on it because it's so nice.
I know,
You
and
can
the,
print more. It's fine.
the ink is real vibrant too. I can take notes on the actual, like, digital document as we're talking. And maybe I think, like, just as we're reading stuff, it would be good to try to come up with a consensus, around our rate that we're reading. So, Dr. Bill was saying, or do other people have ideas around that?
I am less familiar with the content of the turnaround action plan than perhaps anyone at this table, having late in the game. But I see what Paula is saying. I have it in front of me. It describes strategic objectives and initiatives, goals and benchmarks. It's really RIDE's document, right? The turnaround action plan.
I
Or
don't know,
is
I
it-
think the community came together.
Okay.
I wasn't here, but I think the community came together, but there are metrics.
Yep.
That the district
Progress,
is
learning.
responsible to monitor.
Yeah.
And a lot of the metrics have to do with student outcomes. And then there are also metrics around family and community engagement. And so, because it is so heavy on the work of the district, that's why I was thinking all four, because there is work of the school board, but a lot of implementation left on the district.
Yeah, it's really a blueprint
Mhm.
for how the district is gonna turn itself around. It comes from the commissioner with I'm just looking at the authorship, it's with the commissioner and the state turnaround superintendent, so it's really a district document, but there are pieces that would be about governance.
Yeah, I was involved in that, process as a community member,
Mhm.
and the, RIDE used the design thinking process to bring community in. And I definitely see it kind of shared in a way where, because it was about vision and values of community, it was essentially like listening sessions like we're doing now, but then it did become like almost like a strategic plan.
Yep.
And I think that it makes sense for it to mostly not be on the board, only because we weren't the ones in place who were doing the listening at that time. It was really RIDE in the district. And I mean, I wasn't on the board at that point, so I'm not really sure. But the board did not own the process, whereas I feel like with the community listening sessions now, we are. So like,
And also, if I can just say one thing, it's not a policy.
No,
It's not even close to a policy. So on that,
it's plan.
on that score, I might say it's actually a 0. Because it has nothing to do with policies. It's not a governance document. It's a plan to improve teaching and learning. I mean, are there things that have to be measured? So I might disagree with you.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't know that we were taking it, like, I thought we were not deciding if something was a policy or not yet, so that's why I was just reading it on implementation.
So
I thought that was a next step for deciding whether it was a policy or not.
you're right.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'll defer to 4.
we want to say 4 for now. And honestly, I think it's okay to sort of be like, like it's like directionally, it's around the 4. It's around the 4.
Right.
Yes, that sounds good. All right, cool. I know. I'm going between the phone and here.
If you
and-
want, I can pull them up and share it, because that's why, otherwise I don't know what they're talking about, and then sometimes with the titles.
So are we ready to move to 102? Core beliefs and commitments. Would we say this is more of a management document or more of a board document?
I would vote this as a board document. This is a I mean, it's not the way we want it to look.
No, you're probably gonna wanna rewrite it, but yeah, it's totally a board document.
I would put a 10.
Any opposed or thoughts on that? 103, school district goals and objectives. Just the title is all, I mean, if you pull it up.
Oh, fine, I'll tell you what it says. Here it is. Here. When I look at it. I can't see anything. Or here.
You have to read it aloud.
And embracing a district performance-based management plan that links district goals to performance standards and quality indicators, the Providence School Board intends to establish a meaningful and measurable framework for achieving the district vision, fulfilling its mission, and accomplishing its goals. So the goals are student achievement, building capacity for infrastructure support, and strengthening parent and community engagement.
That seems outdated compared to.
Yeah, it looks like it was
This
2003.
is 2000. I'm just saying, that needs to be archived, like, we'll just go straight there.
Go straight to obsolete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could say obsolete. It's not a number though.
Just put an abbreviation right now.
So,
Mhm.
OBS.
Yep, that's what I did too. Okay, cool. All right, so now we are at 104, basic education program. What's up to?
I know what that is. Let's see what they wrote there. Oh, okay. So this cracks me up. This is one of those policies which says we're gonna comply with the law.
Yeah.
The purpose of this policy is to ensure that we comply with the BED. And then the policy defines terms. And then it says, the superintendent shall cause the Providence School Department to adopt and comply in all respects with BEP. And the superintendent shall ensure all management rights of the Providence School Department are strictly maintained. And the superintendent will ensure that everybody complies with all the laws. Just summarizing, but it lists different laws. So
Which PUC is it? The most current?
it was approved initially on 1/24/11, which was when it started. There was an amendment in 2021. I'm not sure why it got amended.
I think it's the BEP that did it, right?
So does that sound like something that board needs to have covered, or does that feel like or is like legacy?
It's law.
Okay.
It's a regulation.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't, it alludes to a law. It references a law, it says we're gonna comply with it. It does say that you're gonna, the one piece of this that is a little policy-like is the board's gonna follow and make sure that it maintains control of management rights, which is a little bit of a kind of edging towards, keeping union members from taking over what we need to do to improve. That's the citation that they make.
Yeah, in other words, the contract can't have something contrary to it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be kind of,
That's governance.
I think it's governance too.
it needs completely different writing, but it's touching upon a topic that is governance driven.
Yeah, I would say maybe an 80, because there are things the district definitely needs to do in terms of maintaining the contract so that the contract is in compliance. Yeah.
And setting the tone for how you're going to structure your relationships with the staff, to the extent that that affects that's a part of the governance, how the board is going to work with staff, teachers, like the key personnel. I think this does go to that. So 8, 9, 8.5.
Because on the day-to-day stuff, like if somebody were in non-compliance, then if they still were in non-compliance, then it would eventually make it to hearing.
I
Yes,
mean, you carry out all the work.
all the work.
So we feeling okay, 8.5?
I'm just teasing. I put an 8, I mean,
Okay. And I think it's inevitable, we're gonna have to come back to some things and just be like, well, where do we really land? If some things are just like really in the middle, might need second opinions and stuff. So let's go to 105, strategic direction, school-based autonomy.
strategic direction. That is that.
Oh, I
Oh, you got it. Oh, good. And yours looks
Which
bigger.
one that one?
This is the school based.
Oh.
So it's like Providence School Board strategic direction to drive significant improvement in student achievement consistent with the Providence School Board statement of core beliefs and values.
It sounds like it.
Says that, yeah. Is there any part in there, I guess we have to see if there's any part in there that the district will, but it doesn't sound like it.
Well, it says here, Providence School District role, as the transition to greater school-based autonomy is made, the role of the district's central office will shift from one of mandating uniform practices, services, and approaches to building capacities needed to ready each school site for flexibility and autonomy. This is, I think it feels a little like
I think
the
Also from 2014.
I would say this is
Yeah.
obsolete, this is pre-cap.
Okay, that's true.
Just because like there are a whole bunch of different rules in place for our redesigned schools and things like
Well,
that.
also the 2019 changes to infuse schools with principal control kind of overrode this.
Right.
This was sort of like a foreshadowing of that, because this is pushing it down, but now we have laws that
Right.
tell us that the principals run the schools and you decide.
But there is still things that, like, there are other laws that came out after that, like, you have to use, high quality approved curriculum, like, so things were, I don't know if you remember, but in this district, like, every school has one, I don't know how they manage that, but at the time we did, and now they're having this, rules, so.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna put OBS. I just wanna tell my friends. When my, younger one was in class, I had a English teacher who didn't want to be proud of standardized pieces. It's not one of the stars. And Jesse would say, he and his friend would talk to the teacher about the book, and apparently this curriculum had these books that were a little present, like Vietnam, racial discrimination, and she would say, "I'm not reading it, it's present." Just telling
We'll
you.
get you a happy award.
And Jess and his friend used to tell her about the characters, but she wouldn't read them.
She wouldn't read them, so it was depressing.
She just defied the curriculum. She was like,
So she didn't read about the Great Depression either.
she didn't read anything that was dark. It was English. You know, the things they carried, they were supposed to read about Vietnam, and she's like, no, that's just, I don't like that. That's just, it's being a little critical. She was like, who doesn't? He decided he's not gonna read the
And
books.
history is kind of depressing, so we kind of have to look at it still though.
Obsolete.
Kind of depressing. Okay, so we'll move to, obsolete on row 5, we're gonna move to 106, which is the racial and ethnic equity policy. This says the purpose of the racial and ethnic equity policy is to hold the district accountable to a formalized set of expectations. And there's like 7, including how we all governing barriers that cause, or perpetuate disparities, creating systems and structures to support the diversity of others. Yeah, that's the way I want this That's the last update? Yeah. Oh, revision, it says 2023.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it sounds like government stuff.
Yeah, I guess that is a question I have about, is that governance, district leadership, like?
Who's implementing it? That's the question that has been trying to decide, like, who is the one who's carrying that heavier lift on it?
Well, I would make an argument that this is really describing, I was gonna say describing the board's relationship with stakeholders in the community, because it's very prescriptive and it's telling them what to do, but in a bigger sense, it's saying we want to be governing with an eye towards inclusiveness. I don't know, is that strange?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, right, I'm not sure.
I definitely see
I'm
this
not
one a little bit in the middle too, because I do think it expresses the values of community. Um, that like, I'm really happy that the district has this. And like, I'm thinking about what if we were in a district where there was an at-odds moment, where it was like, the community saying this is important, the district was like, no, we're not gonna say. And I think it would be the board's job to like, make sure, not that it's, not that we're implementing it necessarily, but that it's a statement, part of our like beliefs or like values or something, that's like,
Yeah. So shared ownership.
it's probably
I
shared.
mean, there are these governance policies that speak to, that speak to the board's relationship with stakeholders, how it's going to interact with stakeholders. So this could be, it's more verbose than I just
Yeah.
said, but it could be, you know, we the board want to make sure.
And it needs to be crafted, so yeah.
I think it's a governance.
Like a 6-7 or like a higher.
I think it's more governance than not. Above 5.
How many books? Almost 5.
How many? I mean, I think it's such an important topic that maybe 8. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fit into the buckets, but it's also something that goes directly to how this board wants to lead. So I hesitate to, you know, I know what you're, I mean, I kind of feel like this may not fit in the grid perfectly, but
I think it lands under the, kind of thing where we started in the beginning where we have policies that really are important, but not necessarily definition of policy.
not in AJ's grid.
Yeah.
We don't have to put everything, I mean, we want to follow his ideas, but I think this one, we have to think about, how it's written so we don't get sued.
Yeah.
We have to be strategic in this awful, sorry, I'm being
No.
explicit. I mean, I think we have to be protective of you, so I would be, we might have to be more careful. Not that I think.
Well, they already
But
There is an active lawsuit.
that's what I mean, so these policies, but they would point to this policy as evidence in their lawsuit, they're gonna be like,
Well, we can figure out what's.
I would say it's an 8.
I would say it's an 8 too, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Go past Sandra.
So we
But you're being recorded, just so you know.
This is good though, I mean, yeah, and I think that what it comes down to is the review. Yeah, we're gonna, every policy will have a review period, period, and figure out that timeline with you.
And they're gonna be kind of reframed and rewritten, so it's really more which bucket as opposed to the content.
Exactly, yep. All right, so let's move on to,
The bylaws.
oh, wow, so yeah, this next,
That's easy.
in theory, this next section should be easy, but let's just stay open if there's anything that's like, wow,
The
we
bylaws are yours, so.
Yeah.
That's a
Those are
10.
yours.
Those are yours.
That's a 10, the code of ethics is a 10.
It's how the board.
It's like law, it's also law, so I don't know if you need to recite it in policy. That's a 10, I mean,
You go to yourself.
Right.
You said to go to, me go to on the other one?
That's 204 management oversight.
All right,
Board
so I'm gonna go back to the
operations.
other.
As provided for under Rhode Island general laws and Providence charter, the school board is the governing body responsible for ensuring that the Providence Public School District provides a high quality education for all students. The board will establish a coherent framework for fulfilling the district's mission, substance of the policy will clarify the role of the board in management oversight and define its expectations.
This is a governance document that is just
Absolutely.
really outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to find out when it was written. Can we-
2016.
I would say that one's obsolete.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was started in 2008, so. So do you want to say obsolete?
I would say that's obsolete, because I think that all of those other things are going to be put into the other rules.
The bylaws.
Yeah.
Okay. It's obsolete on 204?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 205 is school board policy process, which sounds very school board.
We're good. We're all good. Okay, bye.
The purpose of this policy is to provide clear expectations for the school board policy development, adoption, and review process.
Sounds like a 10.
I'm worried because Ms. Harris said we should, Ms. Lee said we shouldn't have so many tens.
Well, you won't, this is the normal section to have a lot of tens,
Okay.
and then it changes like rapidly after
Well,
that.
It's like I'm gonna read more policies. Thank you.
At the end of the day,
There's a
you'll have
share,
like a
there's a
10%.
cancel, there's a share is
Yeah.
like, Right.
School board review of regulations.
We can't even click this. There's nothing to click. Oh, okay.
oh, I don't know, is there?
There was this protest.
So then I think we just strike it. Obsolete.
Should we like look into it to see what it says? Or-
No, we can't even click
If
it.
I were, you can take this for what it's worth, but if I were you, I would have that as be part of the policy review, so you're gonna be looking at legislation, you're gonna be looking at regulations, and get all context.
Yeah, but we don't know what this is.
No, I know, that's why I would just write that one and make sure that the policy is strong enough.
Yeah, I guess what I mean, yeah, exactly that, but I guess what I mean is like, instead of just striking it, maybe we could probably still need to locate it to know what it said, maybe, to make sure it's implemented. It's there, I don't know. I just
My
don't
hunch,
wanna lose
my
any-
hunch is that it has
Probably
obsolete.
obsolete. Okay.
First of all, review of regulations, that's a, yeah,
It's just kind of something we
Right.
should be doing, it's not really.
Yeah,
and regulations is just a weird word.
okay, so obsolete. Sounds good. 207, Providence School Board Code of Conduct. Sounds like a strong 10.
Yeah, and I'm curious how that's different from your bylaws and your ethics.
I can't find it when I try to open it, it doesn't have anything there.
There was one we did last year.
Yeah.
There was one under President Roosevelt.
It's coming up as like a, can't be found, yeah. an error.
Okay, well, we can look into it. But it would definitely be a school board thing. So we can.
And I'm gonna just say, okay.
Yeah, okay, that one too, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that one's a, I don't know what that means, student incident communication. That feels like a district level.
It's-
Yeah.
we
Right.
we have a thing where it's a social meeting, and we communicate to type of.
That's a district.
Yeah, yeah, I would say.
Yeah, it's-
It's just recent, but.
Right, some part, okay.
But it might not be the whole board.
No, it's usually the president or the leadership.
Okay. I mean, yeah, oh, no, sorry, I was just,
Oh, that's the next section.
oh, no, and no worries. I'm wondering if we wanna just take a minute real quick to, we did get through at least the first part of that without too much challenge. Do we need to look at the impact column, before we move on to the other sections? Or the impact column that says, to what extent does this policy directly impact the goals of the school board?
Okay.
Right, we have no goals. We have no goals. We'll have them.
It's gonna be hard for you to answer. I think that's what AJ was saying.
Our goal is to have goals.
Some of this might be a little.
I mean, I think that's for situations in which it's less clearly a governance policy.
Right.
And you're trying to tease out whether it has some governance impact. So you wanna see if it might be elevated to the governance policy book because it does relate to goals. But since most of these are either obsolete or close to 10, I would say that doesn't really matter. But you're right, you need the goals in
Like the
order
right
to know
version.
what
Right.
impact.
Because I reviewed it today and I did go through.
Most are obsolete,
No guardrails.
or a 10.
So,
It kind of is just like,
Yeah.
Right.
all right,
Do we wanna look at the delegation part?
that's what I'm wondering, yeah, which policies will the board immediately delegate?
So this 100 and 208, it looks like.
Well, and I don't wanna just finish the page, because.
Yeah, we can.
The next
Let's just
section
finish
is
the
all
page.
yours, so if
Oh,
you
it
just
is?
wanna finish it.
Oh, it is? I didn't even notice. Number 3.
And the next section, it goes into.
Now I'm talking about that finish this page.
Recruitment, that is the board, so 10, but we do the evaluation. Oh, no, we do the recruitment too? I know we do the evaluation. 15 to district administration.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a board recruitment.
Okay, 10.
All of this, the responsibilities of the superintendent describes the relationship between the board
That's what I'm
and
saying,
the
that's all, those are all.
tens.
So that's why I just said, why don't we just finish the
Got
page?
you, okay.
Yeah.
There's one more 300 on the next page.
You should just, let me just.
So 305 for all board.
Requirements for reporting employee loss.
I would
Oh,
assume-
305.
For
Recruitment team.
some of the leader commissions to
You don't have.
do that, but it was fun before, right? It was
Oh,
fun.
it was the school improvement team,
Oh, that- that's-
Yes.
as you guys want.
Yes, what it says on here, it says the purpose of the Providence School Board will lead school improvement teams,
Yeah.
allow the school community to engage in the process to ensure an effective teaching and learning environment. But that is something that
that we implement, so like, even if we just wanted to say like.
Yeah.
8 and 2, then maybe. Yeah. it's- Not just looking.
It's just.
Something for the board reading.
you can also, and I don't know if this is how you feel, but y'all can take it,
Yeah, you could
because I'm taking notes here. Oh, yeah. I can't even read it, it's so small. I'm just using my phone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
you
you,
can take it.
would you like?
Although I do appreciate the next time we'll share it. Hi, Steve.
Hello,
Steve.
Okay.
Welcome back.
It was preparing them.
So wait a minute,
So I
Yeah,
would say
there
that
looks
that's.
to be two instances.
That was 306.
305.
Oh, 305. So 301 to 304 are all basically 10s, but 305 is like a,
It shows, yeah.
okay. Alright, so are we good to just keep going, or do y'all wanna?
Let's do 400, you have it on here, so let's just do
Yeah.
400.
Oh, it is on there.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, that's a lot of 400, so.
I think we'll get through them kind of quick.
Okay.
I mean, most of this is non-governance.
Yeah,
Um,
so this is the MTSS, multi-tiered system of support, 401.
That's the district.
Do we have any parts of like COVID in that? So 0?
Okay.
I don't see,
It's,
Okay.
you should know what it is, but you don't do it.
Right.
No, yeah.
Okay.
So one meeting, like we should
Multi-tier, that's a district, no, that's a
totally district. What do you think, like a 1, like, we should at least know what it means?
Yeah, and I think we should support us in terms of
It's
like,
good
if
to
you
know
have
the
budget
definitions.
requests, you might wanna support budget requests.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff, so, yeah.
Okay.
Grading policy,
That's
that's
a
a
district.
district. Graduation policy.
That was one I did have questions on. Is that one that's legally required?
A graduation policy, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have to have graduation requirements as a district, but I don't know that you need a policy. That's not, that doesn't go to governance, that doesn't go, unless you have.
I'm pretty sure I see that.
Right, so I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
so
get
either-
there. See what-
Yeah.
The district needed to adopt a policy because it had to outline.
internet.
I think we're just trying to determine, that one might need to be added, we have to double check those.
I'll check to see if
Yeah.
it is a policy, but no, you're right. You're right. Each Rhode Island school committee shall adopt graduation requirements in LEA policy and shall maintain documentation of these policies. That reads a little like in the policy.
Yeah, and it would be governance.
Well, I think it's legally required. I don't think it is governance. I think it's just, that's a,
We just need it as a district.
I think that's a yes. I think that's a yes.
On the legality.
Yes, I
Okay.
think that's right.
But on the actual, like, ownership, it's district.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, things will come to you, like, so we might, so one of the things in the policy indicates, for example, that, if we want students to take college courses, then we can provide them, that might come with funding, and so that might come because of request for funding and budget.
Yeah.
So there's always some
Yeah.
pieces, yes. We are doing the heavy implementation.
I mean, I think in terms of governance versus districts, it's really more
It's heavier
just
on the district.
way heavier, so I would put like an 8.
I'm sorry. The
Opposite.
opposite. It's the opposite of
Yes.
eight.
Like 8, I'm like,
I
this
just- The math is not that.
And internet is also a policy. We have to
So I just
have
restarted
internet
it.
filtering.
Every time I uninstall it, it
That's
just
different.
keeps doing that same thing, verifying application.
This is 404, internet use policy. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's district.
No,
Right. The 111.
yeah.
Fine
But,
art
I use
program.
it. No, but
I'm
that's
gonna
what I
check on
mean,
whether-
like, even when I launch it,
how
like,
legal-
how you saw.
But I think you're saying it's a 2 for
Install.
implementation.
Yeah.
Fine arts program? What the hell is that? That's the BEP, right?
This seems like a redundant policy.
What does it say? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it says,
I don't know, it's not found.
the purpose of this
I don't know
policy
if it's
is to
because
ensure
Windows
that all
11,
students have equitable access to
you guys
consistent
haven't read
environment
it,
of fine
obviously.
arts education within the school district.
That's like included.
Yeah,
Or
it's,
is it not?
yeah, all students have that.
It says it's district.
I'm sorry, what was that?
District role. And this is law.
Is it obsolete though, if it's
I
part of
think
the?
it's redundant, and you don't need that and the because it's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we could
You don't
use
need
it
a
differently.
policy.
We'll use this one, yeah.
Right.
So then, I'll just use this one. Okay.
Okay. You have a middle school policy. We have middle schools?
We have middle schools.
Do we? It was doing K through 8, but it was even,
Well, we all
oh yeah, that's right.
What does it say?
It says the Providence School Board believes that effective middle schools serve two purposes: to promote academic excellence and to foster individual, personal, and social development. It further believes that the effective middle schools recognize the quality of unique developmental characteristics and needs of the early adolescent by providing
Educational programs that are rigorous and offer opportunities for explanation.
It doesn't seem like.
It doesn't
sounds
seem
like a
like a
policy.
policy
Yeah,
at all.
it sounds like a resolution.
100%.
When was it passed? 2003?
Well, we believe middle schools. Wait, hold on. We believe they should do these things. Yeah.
High school portfolio is, that's gotta be obsolete. Is that the portfolio requirement?
We don't do portfolio.
What does it even say?
The purpose to establish a comprehensive reform framework for design, development, and evaluation
I
of high
see
school.
dashboard.
So that's an old, that's a.
policies. Oh, can't find it.
It has to be obsolete because so much has changed in terms of how we use it.
Dual enrollment.
We are required to have a dual enrollment policy that indicates how the district will support students financially who want to be dually or currently enrolled.
Yes.
So that's district.
Well, actually,
Um,
you're right. You're right. It says, the general laws say school districts must adopt a policy, and then it says local school committees shall adopt a policy. So it's legal.
That is our district.
Yeah, and you're just responsible for passing the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get to YouTube.com,
Like,
so
yeah.
I could get to, anything else.
All right, we're now at 4:10, observation policy.
So it's reward seems to make it easier for parents, guardians, to participate in education and children and recognizing that some parents, guardians, may wish to observe their children in the classroom or other school setting in order to evaluate the appropriateness of the program for the district. So that's district, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I could say is that it could be argued that it expresses the board's connection to the community.
So like a Florida too.
Yeah, she said.
Yeah, like, I mean, and we're gonna have to look at this one carefully, make sure that, special counsel protection.
For what
We're talking
compliant.
about, the,
Okay,
background
she's
check.
Sunday.
I just,
Yeah.
this one we need to make sure it's like.
It's a district, I mean, it could end up being delegated.
Or is this one?
It doesn't require us.
Oh, and then it doesn't say that.
Under the calendar.
So we're
it says
comfortable keeping it at like a 4 right now, it's definitely more district.
Managed
Yeah.
packets,
Um,
agenda builder.
okay, so 4:11, advanced placement,
She says there's no audio
There's a
system.
statement saying you can do this.
and so no problem, yeah.
Sure.
Where is it defining what it means?
Right. It says the purpose of these policies is to ensure that all students have equitable access to a consistent, rigorous, and well-defined advanced placement.
The TAP, well, in the TAP plan indicates that we're going to increase, and remove barriers to access.
I mean, it could end up being a goal if the district decided that one of its goals to measure performance by way of AP or
Because he seems to be.
making AP classes more accessible. It could become a goal, but I don't see it in this context.
And I think there's a way of using to continue with.
Right.
The equity policy, we even in that, just without
Yeah.
breaking down barriers, making sure all students have access to it, and doing that way.
And
So, I mean, it's clearly a district, obsolete,
And just make sure that you're capturing it wherever you want to capture. it.
Yeah.
That's right in your end.
yeah. Can I ask if this might be a really tough question, but like, say, I'm always thinking about a district that was, if there was like a room district that was like, we're not gonna offer advanced placement. Do you need a policy like this to ensure that there is advanced placement, or?
Is that what you're saying, tie it into like the immediate?
Yeah, I would like, and because, you know, what, not that replacement, but it might be replaced by something else and, and so if you're saying in your equity policy that we want to ensure all students have access to, advanced placement, advanced courses, such as, and you can list them all the different kinds, it could be college courses.
Right, I was just thinking it might be that you're accessing, you're creating access to college level courses for kids who tested out of math from high school.
AP used to be the only,
Yes.
Yeah.
we want to make sure we brought.
Yeah. Got it, okay. So like obsolete slash like modify.
Yeah,
link
and
to
now we have
equity.
advanced courses at middle school, we didn't have those, so I didn't have that training.
We're saying that.
And then
It's
now
like
we're
15,
I
and
know.
not long ago.
10 years is a long time.
It is in education.
Back to May. 2015 days.
Gosh. it's so sad.
Pre-COVID, yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So we're almost there. 412, home and hospital instruction.
That's it.
That's just repeating the regulation,
That's okay.
I'm guessing. We will comply with the law.
The purpose of this policy is just for the teachers, students, and issue outlined below.
You skip those.
Yeah, so that's a district.
Yeah, we're required to do
Yeah.
it. It's just like, we have to.
So level one.
Yeah.
More therapists.
Special education staffing is only one.
We're required to have a state special education staff.
Hi, everybody.
For 14, then student teachers and intern practicum students.
The Providence School Board, oh, perfect, I'll read the purpose. This policy is to establish the guidelines for placement of student teachers and intern practicum students, as well as the roles, responsibilities, and expectations in the school district.
Yeah, that's what we do. We have that in our HR team. Handles that and oversees our placement.
I would put that as the 0.
Our first zero. Is that our first zero?
It's more protocol practice.
Yeah. Employment first. The purpose of this policy is to implement, support, and adopt for the employment first policy. It ensures the presumption that students with intellectual developmental disabilities are capable of working in integrated employment settings.
That's all about special education and transition. Which is very much certain through regulations.
What year is that?
2019.
Yeah.
Is that what the regs are?
I have the feeling like people just came up with things like they're not. That's
Kind of
weird.
like resolutions or something.
They're just like, this is really
Except that
important.
these, they're like neat. But I have, you know, teachers.
Right, like legal.
When you don't read anything else.
Yeah.
We need funding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would be
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
Federal requirement right now.
Yeah.
Policy is not, it's still in
So for, right, but we have it.
It's really hard to be a teacher these days. You miss the regulation.
We're tailing you.
416, relations with education research
This is old family, I just want to put that
As a member of the local and national community of educators, PPSD embraces the pursuit of research, which furthers the body of knowledge related to teaching and learning of children in America's public schools. Sounds like a presidential speech.
Right, it's a talking point for the election.
Yeah. Obsolete. Or
Doesn't say anything.
We have protocols in terms of if somebody requests to do research that we have to follow. So I'm wondering if that's what it's trying to get into. Like there's paperwork, there's an IRB process, there's like all protections. And a lot of times people don't meet all the criteria and they say no.
I just don't see that as having anything to do with the board. You,
No, we have a whole process.
and you are entrusted with getting lawful, implementing lawful relationships.
Oh, I see, I see.
yeah, this does speak to some of the like ethics around research and how it should connect back to the goals of advancing the school.
And we have to protect children because we are a school district.
Yeah, so there's laws about that, and so this might not be needed.
It's not something that. Like not, you would have.
This is a total district thing, because the superintendent has to know what the rules are in order to approve. So I would just, and it even says that the superintendent shall have the authority to approve or disapprove.
We get so many requests.
So I would just say that's obsolete. Well, either one or obsolete or
Yeah.
both.
Or 17.
I just wanna point out that, it's people that say,
Yeah.
I don't know when we wanted to adjourn this.
Yeah, we only have one, we have two more and the fours.
I can do it.
Homeschool policy.
There's a required, process, basically somebody, submits that they want the whole school, and they have the elements in their letter, we have it. And then
There are
they-
ways in which the school district could make some tweaks to it,
Yeah.
like, but that's district to district.
So like a two. And then the last one in the fours, and we're gonna hit our goal today, is work-based learning.
Hi. Good, I'm John Howard.
Good, how are you, Jackie?
Nice to meet you.
I think I feel like I've seen you at the meetings.
I've been at some, I do some writing for Providence I,
Oh,
covering
okay.
schools.
Oh, okay.
So tell me about student support, what?
So I'd say it's a
Do
two.
you have 3 hours?
No. Well, I gotta tell the meeting start.
That was really, really good.
Oh,
For sure.
yeah.
You can have it, you can take it. I don't know how many
Sure.
Let's just, wrap up that one thing for very much. Can I just get like a, either verbally or like part from the, working on it like this? Very helpful.
So you do all the mental health counselors and social,
And I'll work on.
and career counseling?
No, well, to approve and then. Absolutely. Did you approve the minutes? I know it's right. Oh, you're fine. Wait, do you want to play Jackie? I'm behind my door. I have one. Do you want to go on? Go ahead. I got one behind my door. I always keep one, so go ahead. You don't need it, but if you want to.
I would straighten my hair if I were.
So can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you. Martha, where do you want these kids? Do they make a roll over there?
Like nature's concert.
You tell us and we'll do it.
This is for school?
It is for. You can do this with the audience.
Okay, audience, can
Make another roll.
Yeah, or
Hey, Aubrey.
Michelle sends you the.
John, how are you?
Good. Just go to any meeting and you're there.
Take it away from me.
I mean, I haven't gone to any meetings for about 4 months.
My husband says all the time, I will.
So are you on policy?